So there's been a lot of topic and discussions about NAMM A2 profile, how it's a game changer and how it's going to change modeling as we all know it forever and ever. And from the intro, I did something really funny. I recorded my guitar with my plugin, which is a dry signal, and I reamped that using the Walrus Audio reamp box, reamped that and sent that to Helix here, Stadium here, and also sent a version of that to the GP5. And my goal here is to recreate what I can get from my Helix native, and this $5, did I say $5? This $175 piece of gear, less than $100. And the goal here is to compare the audio quality in a mix. And I did that successfully without me noticing what I did. Like, it is so accurate and the response is so unique that if I said I just played using one gear, I don't think anyone would doubt it. Yes, there's some things that I did after in post-production just to level the volumes so everything sounds the same. But my goal was not to make one sound better compared to the other. My goal was just basically to see what I can achieve with this small device and what I can achieve with this huge device. Now, this will set you back around $2,500, and this is like $75. They are nowhere. There shouldn't be any scenario where I should compare both of them, especially with a price point. But when it comes to results, I actually see that it's possible to get what you get here, including effects. Yeah, I know there will be some limitation at some point, but if anything happens and I have to take only these to a venue or recording live or recording in the studio or anything of that nature, or traveling and recording in an hotel room or anything of such, I wouldn't miss anything but the expression pedal on that. And I could pretty much do everything I would do here. And that buttress goes back to the previous video that I made about other companies that are not adopting the NAMM system going obsolete. I'm still doubling down on that, because if small device like this can run V1, by the time A2 spend some time, the codes, and they understand it, they're going to make something else that's going to play the A2, and it's probably going to be at the same price point, or it's just going to probably be a software update on one of these suckers. And once that happens, we're already seeing the move with Stratus Audio, with what they've done with their system and all that good stuff. When we see more companies like that create more affordable gears at a reasonable price, or a fraction of what it would cost you to actually get it on other devices, then we're getting to that point where it's not going to be about which company has the biggest name or which company has the biggest fan base, or which one do you want to defend your spending on, or anything of that nature. It's just going to be what is giving you results. And I read a lot of comments that I saw in my last video, and it's very polarizing. While some think, oh, nothing is going to happen to other devices, something is going to happen, and some feel like this is just the future. And I'm neither on each of any other side. I'm on the side of music. What serves music, right? What is highly usable? What is affordable? What is something that we all can all agree that gives that result? And yeah, it is funny to say, oh, why is everyone trying to get something that sounds like a tube amp? Why don't you just get a tube amp and just take a tube amp to your studio? It just doesn't. I'm playing a gig in the next few hours, not even hours, in like 2 hours. And one thing about that gig is the fact that I cannot load in an amp on that stage. The logistics is not there. It's just not going to happen. And that bets another topic for silent stage and what the stages are turning into these days. That's going to be a topic for another day. I still believe amp should be back on stage, except for scenarios where you're doing like wall tours and you cannot afford to take all your rigs. Then the capture technology that you have in any of these devices can just help you take your rig along with you in places that you can't take your amp. And you're going to have consistent tones no matter where you go. Power amps are still going to be there. So I can still put this in the effects loop of any amp and still get my amp tone, and just use the clean power amp session of any amp that I use, and just use this as my main amp. So my tone and my gears are consistent everywhere I go. And that's why the digital modelers are making waves. So right now, This is the Valeton GP5 loading NAM capture that I've loaded in, added reverb on that device. Keep in mind, that's a $70 device that I'm playing with right now. That is incredible. For that price point, something is happening and something is changing. Models used to sound terrible. Now imagine you loading these up with some really cool captures. There's no need to go all the way when you can achieve similar result on here. And that's the point here. Will you have a better workflow? Of course, you need an app to control these, and I'm not a fan of that. I'll always say that I like independent devices that could just operate on their own. But it's a trade-off that is worth every dollar. I mean, you're going to buy at least 30 to 40 of these if you're going to spend the same amount if you have the budget for these guys. So I think a little trade-off here without touchscreen and all that stuff. If it's the music you really care about, you can get these done. Now, I'm not discrediting what the Helix stands for and what it does. It's a whole machine. It's a touring rig. It's reliable. It has good presence. It looks good on stage. It sounds good. It has a whole lot of options, a lot of controls. But if all you need is your captured amp on stage, $2,500 is not reasonable. Spending $100 or a little bit over that to get that amp and then add your effects as you like, that goes a long way. Or just take it as is and have fun playing on stage with that. Guess, was that the Helix? Or was that the Vtron? Now, was that the Helix or the Vtron? I'll let you make a guess. Sorry to break it to you, that was a Vtron. That wasn't even the Helix. So I hope I'm making sense with these points I'm trying to make, that it's more about workflow and not really audio quality at this point in time. And that's the fact that everyone needs to get to, that this technology is here to stay and beyond everything that we know and believe, the price doesn't matter on the gear. At least not at this date anymore. I've had the GP5 for quite a while now, and it's been the studio and a good backup rig for me, and just playing around with it and creating preset and doing all sorts of stuff. With the A2 architecture just being released, even though the A2 architecture is not supported yet on these, but just using the A1 captures and playing around and doing all sorts of stuff with the pedal just made me realize how the distance in quality. And Glenn, shout out to Glenn Flicker. I'm a fan of his channel, even though I don't agree with most of the things that he says, but he made a very valid point. Like, the sound quality and the results that you're getting from this smaller, cheaper device blew every other thing out of the water. Either the Tonex or the QC or the Proxy or the Kemper. By the time you put these tracks and these recordings in a mix, the difference is not that, it's not that huge or that significant that it's gonna pull everything all over and then this is gonna be the best, or the QC is gonna be best, or the Kemper is gonna be the best. I understand that people spend a lot of money on those gears, and those gears offer a few things that are extremely useful to music creation or performing on stage that I cannot take away from those devices. But the fact that you can actually achieve a whole lot with this cheaper gear just means things are changing. I understand if there's a lot of R&D that goes into this, which explains that price point. The reliability on these gears are tested and trusted, but these guys are not bad either. And if these companies are not going to adopt the kind of technology that these guys are adopting, then there's going to be problem for these kind of devices down the line. Will I use this in conjunction with this to get a particular tone? Yes. But why can't these just load the NAM files? That's the big question. You must understand that this technology has been around for a while and it just keeps getting better. And with AI and machine learning and all this technological advancement, the drawing board kind of moved from what it used to be about who has the better quality to who has the better workflow. And that's the point we're getting to. And that's the point of this whole channel. And that's why I make the videos that I make on this channel, basically. Good news here is at the end of the day, music is at the core of everything that we do. And anything that makes us achieve that goal on time, at a reasonable price, is what I stand for. And that's the whole point of this whole channel. I want to prove that you can get the best done without spending all the money. Sometimes I go ahead and spend all the money so you guys don't have to. So subscribing to the channel will be a good way to say thank you. And I'll see you in the next one. Remember, don't stop creating.